do not hate women. I'm not a misogynist. I have a mother, I have a sister, and many female friends. And I respect them immensely. But I have a problem. I have a huge problem when somebody respects women only because she's a woman. I hate when a 50-year-old uncle has to leave his seat for a 20-year-old young girl just because she's a girl and the seat is reserved for ladies. I strongly believe that nowadays womanhood is overrated and men has become a forgotten gender. 26th of February 2016, I woke up to a news of a suicide by a young man from Jhansi, and his name was Avadesh. Whatever I'm going to talk about hardly makes any national news or breaking news. You generally find them in newspapers because for our media it's not that TRP generated. So talking of Avadesh, he had a big dream of having his married life. He had a big dream of spending his life with his soulmate, but this big dream of his became the biggest mistake of his life. This big dream of his became the reason of his death. He was falsely implicated into a dowry case. His wife demanded that the property of his father should be under her name, and when they refused it, she filed a molestation case against his father and his brother. Now during this painful time, his father died, and after a few days, Avadesh hanged himself. You may not be knowing, but there are many men killing themselves for this reason. And I'm astonished that why, and a single statement from women can become a reason of somebody's death. Similarly, 2012 Amity gang rape case, wherein Prashant Sablani and Milind Kapoor were accused of raping their own friend, and after 3 years they were honorably acquitted by Delhi High Court because of lack of evidence. And it was found that it was girl's mother who pushed her to implicate both the accused because she did not like the fact that her daughter was drunk on the day of alleged crime. Now, even the crime in the place of crime was imaginary, but their bail was constantly being denied because at that time our nation was reeling under Nirbhaya case. Not talking of Nirbhaya. If you're a human being, you would never want anybody to go and undergo that experience. But I don't know why after Nirbhaya case, every Indian man became potential rapist. You would be astonished that in rape cases, the acquittal rate increased from 40% to 76% after Nirbhaya, which means that many rape cases were found to be manipulated and fake. And even Delhi Commission of Women established the fact that between 2013 and 14, 53% of rape cases were fake. So I consider that if we call this city as rape capital of India, then women are equally responsible because many allegations from their side happens to be wrong. Our constitution says that there should not be any differential or preferential treatment based on gender, caste and religion. And on the other side, we have a paradox. We have an exhaustive list of anti-men law. Law of adultery. Wife can have extramarital affair without any legal consequences. But a husband, if a husband is found to have extramarital affair, he can be jailed for 7 years. You talk about a relation between a boy and girl. If a boy gets out of the relation, if a boy breaks up the relation, a girl can book him for sexual abuse on the pretext of marriage and he can be sent to jail for 7 years. On the other side, if a girl breaks up the relation, we all expect a man to just move on. We're talking about domestic violence. Women can file domestic violence, citing physical, emotional, verbal, sexual, economical abuse, but there is no such thing for men. Talking of sexual harassment at workplace, I would say every disagreement with female employee is a potential case of sexual harassment. In the end, I just want to say that we call this society as men-dominated society or patriarchal society when every 9 minutes a married man is killing himself, which is twice the number of women doing it. The life expectancy of men in India is 62 years against 65 for women. When it comes to child labor, men are 6 times more in number than women. When it comes to paternity leaves, 90% of companies do not give paternity leaves, and only 10% give them, and out of those people who have this opportunity, only 12% of men take it because of the fear of lagging behind. Supreme Court says that, they have never seen a calf following the bull. A calf always follows the cow, and that is the justification they gave behind 95% child custody is going to mother. In the end, I just want to say that, we should be changing this irrational and biased laws, because if the cry of wolf is played too often as a prank, assistance might not be available when the actual wolf appears.